Hi, good day. Welcome to this session where we'll be talking about internal and external relationships. By the end of the session, you should be able to distinguish between internal and external supply chains, identify procurement as an internal supplier, understand procurement as an internal consultancy, explain procurement marketing, and list cross-functional teams in procurement. To begin with, what are internal supply chains? So internal supply chains basically refers to the interconnectedness of activities or functions within a business. Supply chains are characterized by how the organizational processes function. That is the flow and exchange of information and other resources within an organization. So in a typical business, before the outcome of the organization's product or the organization's processes come out, various functions within the organizations interact among each other before the final product is offered to the customer. So, where the user department initiates a need and then it is being purchased by the procurement officer who provides it to the operations manager, and then for transformation or conversion to take place till the final product comes out, and then also the activities of the marketer who goes out to find out the needs of the customer. I mean, various organizational functions have come together to interact till a final output of a product comes out is what we term as the internal supply chain. It's similar to what we see as a typical external supply chain, but for now, an internal supply chain can basically be depicted as the flow of information and other resources within an organization, that is from inbound activities between the purchasing and receiving inputs, as well as outbound and to conversion activities transforming inputs to output, then to outbound activities where the final product moves to the customer. That is basically what an internal supply chain is. And then we move to external supply chain, where we see focal firm and suppliers interacting upstream, and then we also see the focal firm interacting with customers, depicting the downstream. And then these three actors interact for value to be created for an end user. So an external supply chain is seen as interactions or the flow of information and other resources between firms, that is from suppliers to focal firms to customers, till end product is being delivered to customer to realize values. And then they are controlled through supply contracts and collaborative relationships between actors and then autonomous entities. Then we move on to procurement as an internal supplier. So having looked at internal supply chain, we could see that procurement, being one function of an organization, can act as an internal supplier to the various functional departments. So in creating value, each actor or each function in the organization acts as a link in the chain, that is the internal chain, to deliver value to the customer. And that is what is characterized, or that is what depicts the internal customer concept. So procurement as an internal supplier in the organization has various clients, such as the senior management, with whom they deal with to supply the various strategic needs of the organization. Then another client is the finance department, with whom they interact to know or to convince on the feasibility of a purchase that they want to embark on. Procurement also deals with the warehousing and logistics function in the organization, where they interact on the goods or the goods requirements of the organization and how transport mileage and then goods efficiency, inventory management can be achieved successfully. They also have clients in the form of managers in other user departments such as marketing, operations, and all the others. And then procurement also acts as an internal consultancy, and consultant is basically seen in terms of one person providing or resources to another party to deal with the other party's problems. and we have external consultants and we have internal consultants. Procurement acts as an internal consultancy to um, various functions. So, for instance, procurement provides solutions to, let's say, the salespeople on how they could negotiate effectively, because procurement activities is knowledgeable about negotiation processes, so they are able to provide such expertise to the salesperson on how they can effectively negotiate with customers and provide value to them. Internal consultancy of the procurement function complements the inefficiencies of their clients with the expertise that they have. So circumstances for procurement internal consultancy can be seen when procurement is done by non-procurement staff. So assuming an organization has other subunits who procures or acquires the goods that they use on their own, procurement as an internal consultancy can assist that department on how they can effectively acquire the goods and services that they need for their operations. That is, if procurement is not centralized to the procurement department only. And then procurement as an internal consultancy is also required for multifunctional projects to research and recommend ideal procurement solutions. So procurement in a multifunctional project where the procurement department services or expertise are needed, they provide their expertise to assist in the best way forward to achieve the value that the organization requires. And then they also, as I said, provide negotiation techniques for salesperson. So how does procurement's internal consultancy function come about? They provide established procurement policies and procedures to the various user departments, where they have well-established guidelines to assist those departments in how they can effectively and efficiently undertake procurement. They also provide preferred and approved supplier lists. So for instance, where procurement is being done by individual SBUs, procurement can provide their vetted and approved or verified supplier list to these SBUs for them to use in acquiring the goods from their strategic suppliers on those lists. And then purchasing research and information is also an effective means in which procurement provides their consultancy to the internal business units. And they also provide standard terms and conditions in supply contracts to assist user departments and SBUs in their contractual dealings with. Then, what are some of the characteristics of internal relationships? Internal relationships are not characterized by any legal contract for service, such as there is no legal backing between procurement function and other function in their dealings. Procurement is just seen as part of a large organization. Therefore, the violation of any rule by the procurement function cannot be taken up by any other function within the organization. Procurement also doesn't charge, or internal relationships are characterized by no direct fee or charge. So you provide services to another function in the department and you don't take anything in return. And there is no opportunity for supplier switching. Assuming procurement is the internal consultant to the marketing function. Whether the marketing function likes the services rendered by the procurement function or not, they do not have the luxury of switching the procurement function to a different procurement function. Then internal relationships are also characterized by the tendency to be acquainted with internal customers and suppliers. And then the goals and objectives of internal customers are aligned, because in the end, both parties in the relationship are working together towards the end goal of the wider or the broader organization, and not to each individual person. So we come to stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are basically people who affect or are affected by the operations of a business. And We have different types of stakeholders, which include internal, connected, and external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are basically members of the organization, and they include directors, managers, and employees. Connected stakeholders are the people who have direct legal and contractual or commercial dealings with the organization. They include banks, customers, and shareholders. External stakeholders are those people outside the organization who have an interest in or are affected by the operations of the business. They have no direct commercial or contractual dealings with the organization, and they include professional bodies, governments, and then others. So within the organization, if procurement is seen as an internal consultant or procurement, or if the SBUs have the likelihood of switching their procurement services from the internal procurement function to another procurement function through outsourcing, procurement needs to market itself to the functions in the organization. So that explains the concepts of procurement marketing, where the procurement function displays its competencies and its experience in the ability to deliver better than the outsourced organization. Then we move to cross-functional relationships. So in a typical organization where we have different functional units, marketing does their own activity, operation does their own activity, finance does their own activity, and that's seen to be a vertical form of organizational hierarchy. But this vertical organizational hierarchy, or this vertical nature of the organization, even though it's quite advantageous, it has its downsides, because organizations basically interact with each other in their day-to-day process. Marketing is not independent of operations, neither is operations independent of procurement. Therefore, businesses need to see themselves as interrelated and interdependent on each other in decision making. A typical example is seen in the business process flows in an organization. Businesses interact with each other, or functions interact with each other in the delivery of value, and this is seen in the horizontal nature of businesses, thereby depicting the concept of cross-functional relationships. So in cross-functional relationships, we have cross-functional teams, which are either multifunctional or multidisciplinary. So in such teams, we have people from different functional specializations coming together to pool their competences and achieve an outcome. And we also have multi-skill teams where each person in the team can perform the activities or the outcome that is expected in the team. And then we have project teams which come together to achieve a specific purpose, and then afterwards they are dispersed. And we have the virtual team, which is characterized by teams that come together virtually through the use of ICT tools to exchange information and then achieve a task. So in summary, we have looked at how procurement has relationships with both within and outside the organization, and we have also looked at how procurement markets itself in the organization. Thank you.